Yep. Let's start in. As part of Master Snowflake, let's start understanding AWS for Snowflake syllabus and what are we are going to discuss. What are we are going to discuss? Okay. Uh, let's say yeah. Let's continue, Tim. As part of Master Snowflake, we are going to continue AWS for Snowflake. In this, let's understand what are we are going to cover as part of Snowflake team. Let me why we are discussing AWS for Snowflake. Let's say this is my Snowflake account. Snowflake account. For this Snowflake, cloud may be anything. Cloud may be either AWS, backend cloud may be Azure, Azure, backend cloud may be GCP. So backend cloud may be any of these, or backend cloud may be GCP. Okay. So we created Snowflake account. Snowflake account. So now let's understand uh, why we are discussing AWS for Snowflake. Let's say in AWS cloud, in AWS cloud, there is a storage service called S3. There is a storage service called S3. Okay. In this S3, we have we have data. We have data. So we want to ingest data from Snowflake, sorry, AWS S3 to AWS S3 to our Snowflake table. This is our requirement. This is our requirement. Ingest data from S3 to Snowflake. Okay. So here, what are required from Snowflake to connect S3 location? So first, you need an account. Yes or no? So first, you need an account. Second one, you need to understand what is free tier. For working with AWS, what is free tier? How can we utilize free tier for our practice purpose? Next one. Next one. We need AWS EC2. Why we need AWS EC2? Let's say uh, EC2 can be used to create a virtual machine. EC2 can be used to create a virtual machine. Let's say in EC2, somewhere data is coming from, somewhere it is coming from, means in EC2, we call this one as a local file system. Local file system. To copy this local file system to Snowflake, then we use SnowSQL. We are going to install SnowSQL. We are going to install SnowSQL. Then we are going to move data from here to here. Next one. If you want to access EC2, if you want to access S3, we need one more service called AWS IAM. Using AWS IAM, authentication and authorization, then only from Snowflake we can connect with the different services. So that's why we are going to discuss EC2, we are going to discuss S3, we are going to discuss AWS IAM. And we are going to understand what is AWS, history of AWS, and AWS global infrastructure as a AWS fundamentals. So that's why we are learning to move data from AWS location to our Snowflake location. Whatever concepts required to know from AWS side, we are going to discuss all those concepts. These are more these are more than enough for interacting Snowflake to AWS, AWS to Snowflake to. See that these are main important concepts. If you want to learn any other concepts, your wish, you can also add more AWS cloud knowledge, but these concepts are more than enough for Snowflake developer. Okay? Yeah, yeah. Let's continue Master Snowflake. As part of this one, we are continuing uh, AWS for Snowflake. In that, let's understand what is AWS. So first point, AWS full form is Amazon Web Services. As one of our friends said, it is correct. And someone said it is a cloud computing platform. Yes, it's 100% correct. It is a cloud computing platform. And it provides infrastructure as a service. Some of our friends said infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Correct. And one of our friends said it introduced solve problems of on-premise. Yes, you are 100% correct. What are problems associated with on-prem? Let's say I want to I want to develop a application. Let's say I'm developing e-commerce application. E-commerce application. Okay, e-commerce application. Then my expectation is initially I will get lakhs of customers or crores of customers. My assumption. So what I did is I taken a data center. I taken a data center. In this data center, I set up I set up 500 missions. 500 missions. So I need to purchase hardware. I need to purchase data center space, or I need to take data center space for rent. And I need to install the required softwares. I need to recruit different administrators to manage this cluster available 24 by 7. I am also thinking, let's say I set up this data center in North Hyderabad. I am thinking if North Hyderabad faces any issue, still I want to give access to my customers. So same thing I set up in South Hyderabad, I set up in East Hyderabad. If North Hyderabad completely not available, I can access from other data centers. Then 1500 computers I set up. I purchased, installed. For installation, I paid a lot of licensing cost, recruited many administrators to manage this cluster available for 24 by 7. Then what happened? Initially, until 1 year, there are very, very less customers. It is count in fingers, means maybe hundreds to thousands max. But my expectation is crores of customers. But I got only few customers. To serve few customers, these many resources are not required. One or two missions are more than enough, but we invested lot. Yes or no? So to avoid all these kind of problems, cloud computing systems were invented. What basis these cloud computings, especially like AWS will work? Pay as you go basis, on demand services, on demand services, pay as you go basis. Let me add these 2 points. On demand services, pay as you go basis. In AWS, let's say this is my AWS. This is my AWS. In AWS, in availability zone 1 means data center 1 in Mumbai region. In Mumbai region, availability zone 1 means data center 1. Then I taken only 2 missions. I taken only 2 missions initially and deployed my application. Deployed my application. For backup, for disaster recovery, I set up in availability zone 2 also. And I also set up in availability zone 3 are replicated. So we are saving cost. We are paying only how many resources we used. All of a sudden, my customers are increasing. Maybe after month, after 2 months, day to day, my customers are increasing. You can configure load balancing. You can configure load balancing. You can configure auto scaling feature. Dynamically, you can add multiple resources. Dynamically, you can add multiple resources based on the load. If load is reduced, you can remove resources. If load is increased, you can add resources. Let's say morning 6 to 10, multiple people are coming, 10 resources are used. From 10 to evening 6, only few people, 2 resources are used. And from evening 6 to night 12, many people are connecting. That time 15 missions are used. How many resources used for your application? They calculate, they generate a bill. You no need to set up a cluster with multiple resources. And next point, you can avoid administrator cost. Let's say if it is on-premise, data center management, power related admins, operating system related admins, network related admins, lot of IT cost, administration cost we can avoid. Those are taken care by AWS people. We focus on our application. We least bother about infrastructure, licensing cost, operating systems cost, and administrators cost, data center maintenance cost. We least bother about those things. Those things are taken care by AWS people. We pay rent and we pay as you go basis. Means how many resources are used. We pay only for that. You can scale your resources and reliability. You can set up in multiple availability zones so that if entire availability zone not available, we can access from other availability zones and it is cost effective. If you have a less customers, you can configure load balancer, auto scaling feature. Based on your load, it reduces resources, it increases resources so that you can reduce cost. Let's say morning 10 a.m. to even 6 p.m. Very people are using my application because all people are going to offices. Very less people are using. Then I need only two machines. Such kind of load balancing, auto scaling feature you can enable. You can increase, decrease resources dynamically so that we can reduce cost. Along with AWS, there are many cloud vendors available. Azure, Google Cloud, IBM Cloud, Oracle Cloud, etc. Okay, clear, right? What is AWS? Yeah, yeah. Now let's understand key features of AWS team. Yeah. Any idea what is scaling? Just now we discussed scalability. Can anyone tell me what is scalability? Scaling resources based on demand. Example, example, mean I created one resource. Let's say I deployed application, X application in in let's say mission one. Mission one. I used load balancing. I configured load balancing and I configured auto scale. Auto scale. In auto scale, let's say I configured min min is 1 and let's say max I configured 500 missions. 500 missions. Okay. Let's say multiple customers are connecting into this system. Then I created a load balancer. Let's say load limit, let's say at a time, let's say 1,000 customers, 1,000 people using this one. I need another mission to to support for more than 1,000 people. Let's say threshold limit. Let's say 1,000 interaction to my mission. More than 1,000, I want another mission. So like that, it is creating multiple resources dynamically. Let's say when less than or equal to 1,000 people are there inactive, then remaining systems released automatically. If load is increased, resources are created. Load is reduced, resource going to release, called scalability. Also, we have vertical scalability called in a single mission, we can increase RAM size, we can increase number of CPUs, we can increase hard disk space by adding volumes. Vertical scalability means single system. Horizontal scalability means multiple missions dynamically adding. Next one, security. In AWS, in AWS, we have a special service called AWS IAM. AWS IAM. Let's say, let's say we have we have 12 developers, 12 developers, okay, 8 data engineers, 2 testers, 1 administrator, 1 administrator. Based on these roles, based on these roles, I want to give access of AWS. AWS currently offering 200 plus services. AWS currently offering 200 plus services. 200 plus services. I do not want to give access of 200 services for 12 developers, 8 data engineers, 2 testers, and 1 administrators. Based on their role, I want to assign policies. I want to assign policies. So here we can create users. Okay. We can create groups. We can assign policies to users and groups. So first level security we can achieve using authentication and authorization using AWS IAM. And along with this one, let's say you want to store some software keys or password details, etc. things. We have special service called AWS KMS, Key Management Service. There we can store certification keys related, certificate keys related, and password related, etc. Sensitive information we can store. There are plenty of securities. These are some important. And next one, reliability. And first, flexibility. It supports multiple operating systems and multiple programming languages. Let's say I want to create a EC2 instance. I want to create a EC2 instance. In this instance, I want Linux. I want Windows. Under Linux, I want a different operating system. It has multiple operating systems. Next one. We have 200 plus services. I want to interact with these services. It supports Python, Java, .NET, Node.js, and plenty of programming languages. Plenty of programming languages. It is not fixed for particular programming language. Okay. And reliability. Very, very important one, reliability. Let's say Mumbai is a region. In this region, minimum it maintain three availability zones. 3 availability zone. Availability zone means it is a data center in generic terminology. Data center in generic terminology. So in each region, minimum it maintains 3 availability zones. If one availability zone not available, you can access from other availability zone. Okay. Same data only. Yeah. If you are storing data, then think about data. If you are you are deploying your application, think about resources. Let's say I'm deploying my application. Instead of in a single availability zone, same application I deploy in another availability zones. So that if one availability zone is not available, then we can connect to another availability zone. AWS people given opportunity of availability zones, but your application you have to set up in multi availability zones. Okay. Let me add one point here. Let's say take a Python programming language. They are giving scripting oriented, object oriented, procedure oriented, and modular oriented. You are asking Python people develops program for you. No, right? We have to develop program based on our requirement, right? Hello. We have to similar way. AWS people providing resources, services. You can develop based on your requirement. You can utilize this availability features. They are giving all the features. How you utilize is depends upon your requirement. If you take single availability zone for your mission, cost is going to reduce. Same application I want in another availability zone, another mission, or I want same application in multiple missions. Cost going to increase, but your application is available 24 by 7, whatever the reason happened. Let's say Mumbai South region completely suffering with floods. So entire availability zone is not available, but still you can access, your customers can access your application because somewhere in some other availability zone, your application is running. Yes or no? So you are making, yeah, no, no, you are think about your application. Let's say e-commerce application, you deployed in this mission, you deployed in this mission. Application is same. Application, you are always thinking about application going to store this data. You are thinking this one, you are not thinking about your application. So always you are thinking about the storage. Before that, who is going to process your request? Your application, right? Again, I am coming to your point. Storage. Storage also, let's say 200 missions you set up. You set up. Some missions you replicate in availability zone 1. Some missions you are going to assign in some other missions. Then you going to duplicate your data into multiple missions so that you can access your storage also. First level application we are setting in multiple missions. Similarly, storage also you are setting in multiple missions in multiple availability zones. And even we have a cross zone option. Cross zone in the sense, let's say this is Mumbai region, another region is Canada, another region is, let's say, US, another region is UK, UK. Mine is banking application. Mine is banking application. My client is bank client. If, if entire region is suffering problem, still I want to make my application available to my client. Even though budget is increased, they do not care about budget. They are banking clients, financial clients, healthcare clients. Data is very, very important for them. Applications should run up and run, and data should available 24/7. Let's say if 1 second or at least let's say 5 seconds server is down, they lose lot of money. For them, money is not important. Application should available 24/7. Then they are going to replicate applications in multi-availability zones, cross regions also. Even though that is expensive, but but they want to make application available 24/7, 365 days. They spend money. Okay, we have multi-availability zones replication and we have a cross region. We can replicate into another regions also to make applications or storage available 24/7, 365 days called reliability. At any cost, any failure situation happen, we want to make our application and data available to their customers. Okay, there are plenty of reasons because of people moving from on-premise to cloud, like AWS. Yeah, let's continue Master Snowflake. As part of Master Snowflake, we are discussing AWS for Snowflake. As part of AWS for Snowflake, let's understand history of AWS team. Yeah, AWS initially started with the first service called AWS S3. AWS Cloud currently providing 200 plus services. AWS Cloud currently providing 200 plus services in different categories. Different categories like infrastructure as service, software as service, platform as service. Currently, it is providing 200 plus service. So initially, it started 2002 and then it launched first cloud service, uh, Amazon S3, and they added EC2 later. So these two services called first services in AWS cloud. Initially, they started storage service, then uh, virtual mission service called Amazon EC2. And later they added multiple services. Currently 200 plus services they have invented. They have invented. Okay. Next one. Next one. AWS providing uh, these 200 services in different categories like infrastructure as service and administration purpose. We can say admin and DevOps purpose, data analytical purpose, data engineering purpose, and data science purpose, IoT purpose, quantum computing purpose. For different categories, they are providing different services. For example, data engineering. They have S3, Kinesis, AWS Athena, AWS Glue, AWS Redshift, etc. So like that, different categories and different purposes, they providing different services. Okay. So AWS Cloud is the leading cloud vendor compared to other clouds like AWS, Azure, GCP, etc. Okay, you can see at the time of 2021, from 2021, it is providing 200 plus services. It started with these two services, but right now there are 200 plus services, including latest technologies like quantum computing, artificial intelligence, etc. Okay, clear writing? Yeah, yeah. Let's continue AWS for Snowflake. As part of Master Snowflake, we are learning AWS for Snowflake. In that, let's continue AWS free tier. We just now understand AWS account creation steps practically. Now let's see understanding AWS free tier. Let's say I am a Snowflake developer. I want to use AWS S3 and I want to use AWS EC2 system, EC2 service, and I want to use AWS IAM. So these three are very, very important for my uh, Snowflake integration with AWS. These are main important. I want to know, whether these services comes into free tier or not. If it comes as a free tier, then what are limitations? Such kind of things I want to know. So let's start understanding AWS free tier. So you can see aws.amazon.com/free. You can open this URL in any browser. Let's say I'm opening here. You can see here, you can scroll, you can see under 200, and these are 187, 8 pages. In 8 pages, total 187 services. They are given complete free tier details. You can select each service and you can get more details about free tier. Or nowadays we have a powerful GPT tools like Chat GPT, and we have powerful GPT tools in the market. You can choose any one GPT tool. You can ask GPT about the free tiers and limitations. They connect this kind of websites and they will generate a nice explanation for you. Okay. Yeah. 1 minute. Yeah. Let's continue Master Snowflake. In this, we are discussing AWS for Snowflake. Let's start discussing AWS EC2 step-by-step guide to create AWS EC2 instance, launching Ubuntu operating system, and then connect AWS EC2 instance. Okay, these are the steps we are going to discuss in this session team. So first, in AWS Cloud, we are going to create EC2 instance with Ubuntu operating system. In our mission, this may be developer mission, this may be admin mission, this may be tester mission. Here, we are going to use different client softwares like Putty, mRemote NG, MobiXterm, to connect our Ubuntu operating system team or Linux operating system on AWS EC2 mission. So for this, we follow some important steps. Team. Let me explain. First one. In AWS Cloud, to create a virtual mission, we have a service called EC2. First point, EC2. Using EC2, we can create a virtual machine. Okay. Next one. You can select any operating system you require. Let's say I want Ubuntu operating system. And then how we can connect this EC2 machine is, in our mission, we can install softwares like Putty, mRemoteNG, or MobiXM. Any one software you can install. You can create a connection between remote mission. To create a connection between this one, we use a protocol called SSH, Secure Shell Protocol. So usually, if you want to enable SSH port number in operating system, we use a Linux command to enable a port number. But instead of that, in AWS, we have a concept called security group. Using security group, we can enable port number. SSH port number is 22. We have to enable this port number so that our request to go through the security group to our mission. Next point. To connect to this operating system, we need a username and password. AWS provides username instead of password. It have a concept called key pair. So you can create a key pair and you can attach key pair to any one of this tool. Then you can enter username. Then it is going to connect to Linux machine. So let's start this step-by-step process for creating EC2 instance and connecting EC2 instance. Let me explain it. Yeah. First one, login AWS Cloud. Second one, navigate EC2 instance. Navigate EC2 instance home page. EC2 instance page. Second one, and third one, create EC2 instance. So let's follow these steps. So open any web browser. I am opening Google Chrome, and here enter aws.amazon.com, and here you have to click on my account. Click on AWS Management Console. Here we have a option root user. Enter your root user email ID. While creating AWS account, we will provide email ID, right? We have to use that email ID. We have to use that password to log into AWS Management Console. Yeah. First, I completed this step one, log into AWS Cloud. Team. So first step, what I said, login AWS Cloud. Second step is navigate EC2 service. Navigate or open EC2 dashboard. So for this one, you can see in recently visited, I am able to see EC2, but in your case, you may created account recently. Then go to search bar, type EC2. Then click on this one, open in new tab. Open in new tab. This is EC2 dashboard. So we navigated EC2 dashboard. Create EC2 instance. Create EC2 instance. EC2 instance. Create EC2 instance. Okay. So click on instances, and here we have an option called instances, and here give a name. Let's say I'm giving name is Snowflake underscore EC2 underscore demo. I am creating EC2 instance for Snowflake, so I am giving naming convention like this. Okay, you can give any name. Let's say you can give Sreenivasa, you can give Akkem, you can give your name, you can give any name. Okay, I am giving Snowflake underscore EC2 underscore demo. Then you can select required operating system. Here it is showing lot of operating systems. I want to create EC2 instance with Ubuntu. Select Ubuntu operating system. Then here you can see operating system Ubuntu server 24.04 LTS. This is the latest operating system of Ubuntu. Okay. It may change while you are going to practice. But right now the version is 24.04. Then below you can see T3 micro. T3 micro is eligible for free tier, and they are giving two virtual CPUs, 1 GB RAM. Two virtual CPUs, 1 GB RAM. And below you can see key pair. Click on create key pair. Click on create key pair. And here you can see two different algorithms, RSA and ED25519. Select a default one, give a key pair name. I'm giving key pair name Snowflake underscore key pair. Snowflake underscore key pair. Okay. Then here we have two different format of encryption file formats. One is .pem, one is .ppk. So here we have EC2 instance, EC2 instance, and in this we have install assume. We are selecting Ubuntu operating system. This is my developer mission, and this is your mission, and this one is someone's mission. So in this they are using putty, and in this they are using mobile XTEM, SSH client, mobile XTEM, and in this third mission they are using Open SSH. All these are SSH clients to connect remote missions. SSH clients are responsible to connect these missions to. Okay. So here putty supports .ppk and mobile XTEM supports .ppk file format. Then OpenSSH supports .file PEM file format. Different SSH clients supports different file formats. All SSH supports either .pem, .ppk. In this, I am going to show connection between Putty or mobile XM. I'm going to show this one. That's why I'm going to download this PPK file. Okay. Yeah. Hmm. These are encryption algorithms. Encryption algorithms. You can choose any one, but the format of encryption is different. So algorithm to algorithm, encrypted format is different. So you can browse or you can uh, chat, you can prompt GPT. They give you differences, but for us, these are encrypted formats. So I am selecting dot ppk because I may going to use a putty or mobile extem. You may have a one question. Let's say today I am using putty or mobile extem. Tomorrow, let's say I want to use OpenSSH or Microsoft Remote Desktop SSH client. Then those are going to support .pem format. But today I downloaded PPK. Can I convert .ppk to .pem? Yes. There is a software called Puttigen. Using Puttigen, you can convert .pem to .ppk, .ppk to .pem, vice versa. There is a software called Puttigen. Using that Puttigen, you can convert to ppk to pem, pem to ppk. Okay. So I selected .ppk, click on create. You can see here it is downloading. It is downloading. Snowflake underscore ppk. Okay. Okay, Tim. Yeah, Tim. It is downloaded in this location, Snowflake underscore key pair ppk. I am placing this one in my location under C drive. Under Akkem Sreenivas, I created complete Snowflake folder. Here, I am creating one folder called keys. In this keys folder, I am placing my AWS key pair file. You can place anywhere in your uh, computer team. I am storing in this location. Don't think you also store in same location. You can store in any location you want. So once this one is completed, then 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 here we have create a security group or select existing security group. Okay. I have created one security group called Sreenivas Akkem underscore Sreenivasa security group. If you do not have security group, you can select create a security group, create a security group, enable 22 port. Okay. Later I'll show how to enable. Then hard disk space, I am giving 30 GB. Then remaining options are optional. Here, one important one, number of EC2 missions. Right now, I want only one. Then click on launch instance. So it is going to create a EC2 instance. Go to instances, refresh. Then here EC2 instance is creating. Here you can see status check. Instance state is pending. Status check, it is going to show you 3 by 3 checks success. It means input, output, resources. Internally, it is going to check whether those are working properly or not while creating EC2 instance. Once everything is success, It will show 3 by 3 checks successfully completed. Then we can confirm EC2 instance created successfully. Let's wait a few more seconds to complete this EC2 instance process. Instead of refreshing main browser, AWS provides a refresh button inside every service. You can refresh, you can see the status. Let's wait a few more seconds. Yeah, now you can see 3 by 3 checks are completed. Now I want to create a connection between putty to my EC2 instance. Okay, open any web browser thing. I already opened Google Chrome. Go to here and search putty download. Putty download. Then click on first link. You can see, scroll this one. You can see putty putty.exe file, putty.exe file and 64-bit. And I said one more, puttygen. You can scroll here only. You are going to see puttygen, puttygen, this one. If you want to convert one format to other format, you can download this one. Okay. Yeah. Right now I am downloading putty. So this is first link. Click on this exe file. Then I am downloading this one under my C drive, Akkem Sreenivas, complete Snowflake. Here I am downloading this putty software. Okay. Click on open folder. Double click on this putty. Okay. Just close this one. Then here, if you observe, here it is required host name or IP address. How to find host name and IP address of my EC2 machine? Go to EC2 machine, select EC2 dashboard, go to EC2 dashboard, select your EC2 machine. Here you can see public IP address, public DNS. Let's copy public IP address or public DNS. Then enter that public IP address or public DNS and 22 port number. And here give a name to your session. Snowflake hyphen EC2 hyphen demo. Snowflake hyphen EC2 hyphen demo. Click save. Okay. Along with this one, go to here uh, appearance and change font size equal to 14. Click on OK. Then go to colors. Here use system colors and go to SSH and go to authentication. Click on credentials. Here we have to select a private key file location. Click on browse, then select your private key file location. Under C drive, under Akkem Sreenivas, under complete Snowflake, we have keys. Under keys, we have this PPK file. Select this PPK file, click on open. Don't click on open immediately. Go to session and click on save. Whatever changes we did, right, that should affect to our saved session name. Then now click on open. Then click on accept. Then enter username. Default username for Ubuntu operating system is Ubuntu. Ubuntu. Password we attached keypad file. So it is successfully connected. Now you can enter any Linux command. Any Linux command type. Clear writing? Yeah. Yeah. Now let's continue. As part of Master Snowflake, we are continuing AWS for Snowflake. In that, let's continue AWS S3. In this, we are going to discuss what is AWS S3. Okay, what is AWS S3? And then we are going to discuss practical of AWS S3. So we are going to see how to create a bucket, how to create a folder inside a bucket, and how to upload a file inside a bucket and folder, then how to delete a file from folder or bucket, and how to delete folder from bucket. Then finally we are going to see how to delete a bucket. Okay, we are going to see this complete practical part of it. So let's say first let's start understanding what is AWS S3. Any idea what is AWS S3? What is S3? Okay, got it. Yeah, AWS S3 full form is Simple Storage Service. One S means simple, another S means storage, another S means service. Simple Storage Service. It stores unlimited storage. AWS S3, AWS S3 is a storage service. S3 is a storage service and it supports unlimited storage. It supports what? Unlimited storage. You can store unlimited data, unlimited data. So it's a storage service. It supports unlimited storage. There is no limit, and this is highly available and durable and highly scalable. And another one, we use this service. It supports free tier until 5 GB. You can use this S3 as a free tier service. Once that 5 GB is completed, and you can go with pay as you go model type. Pay as you go basis model means, let's say you stored only 1 GB data. You can pay only for 1 GB data. Let's say if you store 10 GB data, then you can pay for 10 GB data. So based on the data storage size, we can pay to AWS cloud. Next one thing, it is highly scalable. So let's say my business is generating just 5 GB data this entire 3 months. And after 3 months, my application became popular. Then lot of people are using this application. So every day it is generating lot of data. So if you store the data into S3, it automatically scales your storage size. You no need to say, this is my minimum size, this is my maximum size. based on the data storage inside S3, then AWS people will charge. And next one, you can store any size of data based on your storage, it automatically scales. And it is highly available 24 by 7 without any failure. You can access your S3 data. You can access S3 data from anywhere. Next one, it is available 24 by 7. Okay. And next one, uh, it follows a similar style of Hadoop distributed file system style. Means it supports a parallel processing. In AWS, powerful service called S3. S3 can be used to store unlimited data. Based on the size of data you stored in S3, AWS people will calculate billing for your storage. To make S3 available, highly available, we can use concepts called multi-available zone. Next, we can use cross region so that AWS S3 data available 24 by 7 and 365 days. And next point, let's start doing a practical of AWS S3. So first thing in this we are going to see first creating a bucket. So first you need to log in AWS Cloud. You need to log in AWS Cloud and navigate S3 service. In recently visited services, you can find S3. It means I already used this S3 service. That's why I am able to see in recently visited. In your case, you may started this one account AWS account, or you may created AWS account recently. Then you may not see all the services in recently visited. Then go to search bar and type S3 and you can see S3 service. Right click on this S3, open a new tab. Okay. There are many buckets here, and here we have an option called create a bucket. Click on create a bucket. Then here you can type 1 minute. Yeah. So let me click on create a bucket and give a bucket name to it. Here I'm giving bucket name Akkem Sreenivasa Snowflake, or let's say Akkem Sreenivasa Snowflake. Akkem Sreenivasa Snowflake. I gave bucket name. Scroll down. Here you can see block all public access. So if you uncheck this option, it will block public access. Then select I acknowledge. Then below you can see create a bucket. Click on create a bucket. And one important note here, bucket name should be unique across AWS accounts. I created a AWS account. You created a AWS account. Someone created AWS account. If I am creating a bucket, no one should use that name. No one should use that name too. Okay, next one. So here I created this bucket name Akkem Sreenivasa, Akkem Sreenivasa Snowflake. In this, you can see there are no folders, there are no files. If you want to create a folder, you can click on create a folder. Then you can give a name. Let's say I want to first let me go to your datasets. In this data sets, you can see a Snowflake. In this Snowflake, you can see employee.csv or employees.csv. So in this, I am creating one folder called employees. Okay, employees. Then click on create a folder. Then you can just click on this folder. You can use upload option. You can click on add file. Then you can select a file. Under C drive, under datasets, you can see Snowflake. In this, you can see file. This is one way of uploading a file into either bucket or in folder inside a bucket. Next one, another approach. Just go to that file location. You can just select a file. You can just drag a file. So this is another way of uploading a file into AWS S3 bucket. Okay. Next one, I want to delete a file. Or let's say I want to create a file folder, let's say XYZ, then create a folder. In this folder, let's say I want to upload another file. File name is, let's say, transactions.csv. Then click on upload. Okay. Next one. I want to delete a file. Select a file which you want to delete. Then click on delete option. Then you can see message saying you need to type this message, permanently delete. You can type this message here. Then you can click on delete object. So if it is a file, we can select a file. We can delete a file directly. Okay, next go to folder. Let's say I want to delete a folder. Select a folder. Click on delete. You can see option saying permanently delete. Enter permanently delete. Click on delete object. Next one thing. Next approach. I want to delete. Let's say I want to delete this. Let's say this one. Sreenivas AWS DE live hands-on demo. I want to delete this bucket. So click on bucket, delete. If I try to delete, it is giving message saying this bucket is not empty. Bucket may contain folders, bucket may contain files. Let's go to see the bucket. So click on this bucket. It contains files and folders. Okay. You can select all these files and folders, delete, or you can select a bucket. You have an option of empty. Click on empty, then type permanently delete, then click on empty, click on exit, then go to bucket once again, select a bucket. Now click on delete. Now it will allow you to delete. Select a bucket name, enter bucket name which you want to delete. Click on delete bucket. So tell me team, how to delete a bucket? Tell me any one example. Select a bucket. Click on empty. Then type permanently delete. Then empty. Next one, click on exit. Go to bucket. Once you make that bucket empty, click on delete bucket. Then it will show option to select bucket name and enter bucket name. Click on delete bucket. Hope all of you understand AWS S3, how to create a bucket and how to connect a bucket and how to create a folder and how to delete a folder, how to delete a file, how to delete a bucket. Let's say I want to move data from S3 to Snowflake. S3 is different service from AWS, but Snowflake is completely different from AWS. So if you want to access AWS service, you need a permission. Without a permission, you cannot access. So that permissions we can provide using AWS IAM. Next one. So to move data from S3 location to Snowflake table, we need one more service called AWS IAM. Okay. So as part of master Snowflake, we are discussing AWS for Snowflake, right? As part of AWS for Snowflake, let's continue. One important service is AWS IAM for Snowflake team. What is AWS IAM and what are concepts presented in AWS IAM? Then how we can use AWS IAM in our Snowflake. Okay, let me explain diagrammatically so that you'll get a clear understanding. Okay, let's say uh, we have Snowflake. Let's say AWS IAM for Snowflake. Let's understand what we are going to do with AWS IAM for Snowflake team. Yeah, let's say we have Snowflake, S3. Let's say we have S3. S3, we have data. Let's say this is storage service in AWS cloud. Storage service in AWS cloud. Okay, let's take this is my AWS cloud. Okay, so this is my AWS cloud. And here we store the data, AWS S3. In AWS S3, we will create a bucket. Inside a bucket, we will create a folder, and inside a folder, we will get files. Okay. So this is my storage part. This is my AWS cloud. AWS cloud. AWS cloud. So data may be coming to this bucket in multiple ways. So data coming into this bucket in multiple ways using data ingestion techniques. Data ingestion team going to load data into here in this location. Let's say this is my uh, data ingestion applications, data ingestion applications. Maybe using Python, maybe using Spark, maybe using different AWS services. They may ingest data into S3 location. S3 location. Okay, once data is presented in S3 location, I want to load it into Snowflake data warehouse. So this is my Snowflake data warehouse. So this is my Snowflake data warehouse. Okay, Snowflake data warehouse. So here we are going to create a database. We are going to create a database. Inside the database, we will create a schema. We will create a schema. Inside a schema, we will create a table. In this table, we want to load this data. So this file data, we want to load into this table. We want to load it into this table. This is our requirement. Snowflake, using Snowflake techniques. We have a external table concept, and we have a Snowpipe concept, and we have multiple techniques to load this S3 bucket data into Snowflake table. So let me add this point using different Snowflake techniques. Different Snowflake techniques we use different Snowflake techniques to load data from AWS S3 to Snowflake table. We use different Snowflake techniques. We use different Snowflake techniques to load data from S3 to Snowflake table. But by default, it is not possible because Snowflake is different service and S3 is different service. And if you want to access any service in your AWS cloud, we need one special service called AWS IAM. Here, by default, AWS will not allow to access any service in AWS cloud. Let's say AWS having 200 plus services. For any service, if you want access, you need AWS IAM. AWS IAMT. Okay. So here, very, very important one is AWS IAM. So we use AWS IAM. AWS IAM. So using AWS IAM, what we are going to do, we are going to create users. Okay. We are going to create groups. We are going to create groups. We are going to create roles, and we are going to apply policies. We are going to assign policies to users, groups, and roles. We are going to assign. We are going to assign. We are going to assign policies to. We are going to assign policies to roles and policies to groups, policies to users. Policy means permission. Let's say I want access S3 bucket. I need S3 bucket policy. If you want to read, you need a read policy. If you want to write, you need a write policy. If you want to delete, you need a delete policy. If you want to modify, you need a update policy. So for every purpose, we have different policies. So to access this S3, file, we need a policy. So here we want to access what? S3 file. We want to access S3 file from our Snowflake. Here we are going to write a command. Here we are going to write commands. We are going to write SQL commands. SQL plus Snowflake commands. To read data from S3 bucket and then load it into Snowflake table. So to access S3 bucket, we need a permission. So AWS IAM can be used to create a role, attach policy to that role. Then we use that role in Snowflake to access S3 bucket. Clear, right? Snowflake having different techniques to connect S3 bucket. But only one thing, AWS, we create a role, we assign policy to role. Using role, we can connect to S3 bucket and we can access. So AWS IAM plays very important role while integrating Snowflake with S3 bucket. While integrating, group means group of users. I am saying AWS having users, groups, roles, policy. AWS having different features. Whatever required for our Snowflake, we are going to use. We do not require all the features of AWS IAM. Okay. AWS IAM can be used for creating users, creating groups, and creating roles. Assigning policies to roles, assigning policies to groups, assigning policies to users. So AWS IAM can be used for different purposes. But here, what we are doing, we are understanding AWS IAM features. Later, while integrating Snowflake with the DBT, we are going to use these concepts. That time, you never get confused. That's what we are understanding, what is there inside AWS IAM. Later, while integrating Snowflake with S3 bucket, we will create a role we are going to use. First of all, what are different concepts available? If I directly explain, you may confuse. That's why here we are discussing what are features available in AWS IAM. Why AWS IAM? Directly, you cannot access any of these 200 services in AWS directly. Through IAM, we can access. Without IAM, we cannot access any service in AWS. So through Snowflake, if you want to access AWS free, you need IAM permission. Permission means policy. You need a IAM permission called policy. Okay? Clear, right? Let me open AWS console so that you'll get a clear understanding. Go to AWS Management Console. So first log in as a root user or your IAM user. I already logged into this AWS cloud. Now here, if you observe, in recently visited, I am able to see IAM service. In your case, you may be created AWS account recently. You may not see IAM service in recently visited. In that case, in search bar, type IAM and open IAM in new tab. Open IAM in new tab. This one is AWS IAM dashboard. AWS IAM dashboard. Left side, left side, you can see users, you can see roles, you can see policies, you can see groups, you can see groups too. We can see groups, we can see users, we can see roles, we can see policies. Let me create a user. I want to create a user. Click on user, click on user. Let's say creating user called uh, Snowflake, Snowflake hyphen, or let's say underscore user one. Then I am giving access to this management console. Then I am using, I am creating a password. That's it. I am creating one password. Then click on next button. Then here attach policy. Click on attach policy. And here I want to give S3 full access to this user. I want S3 access to this user. Okay, click on create user. You can return to users list. Click on continue. You can see Snowflake underscore user is created. Go to groups. Here create a group. Then group name is Snowflake underscore group one. Snowflake underscore group one. And in this I am adding these two users. Then next one, I am creating a group. So this group contain how many users? Two users. Next one, there is a concept called role. Here we can create a role. I want to create a role. Create a role. See here, if you observe, I am creating a role. This is my Snowflake. This is my S3. This is my Snowflake. Snowflake. And from Snowflake, if you want to access here, we need role. I am role. I am role. This role we are going to attach S3. S3. So using this role, AWS Snowflake going to connect to S3. See, what are different options we have to choose? Is it AWS service? Is it AWS account? Is it web identity? Or single sign-on? Or custom trust policy? Custom trust policy. While working, while working Snowflake, we are going to choose this custom policy. Custom policy. At this time, I am going to show you this one. Okay. While working with the Snowflake integration with S3, we are going to discuss custom trust policy. Okay. Let first select this AWS service and service use case. Let's say my service is let's say EC2. EC2 mission wants to communicate with S3. Then I'm creating a connection. Then I am attaching policy S3 full permission. So from EC2 mission, I want to connect to S3 location. And then I'm giving role is Snowflake underscore role 1. Then you can see uh, this JSON message it is generated. Okay, let's click on create a role. Click on create a role. So in this role, observe using I am. First, I created a user. I created a user U1, U1, and like this we have multiple users, multiple users. Then next one, I created group, let's say group 1, group 1. In this group, I have attached user 1, let's say user 2, let's say user 3. Assume I attached 3 users. Next one, I created a role. I created a role. Role name is role 1. Role name is role 1. And in this role 1. Okay. Next one, we have policies. We have policies. 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 So these policies for 200 plus services. 200 plus services. For every service, we have different policies: read, write, execute, update, delete, etc. For 200 plus services. Assume S3 related, we assigned to user 1, we assigned to group 1, we assigned to role 1. So in this entire practical session, we did this one only. We did this one only. We understand what is IAM, and we created user, we created a group, we created a role. These are default policies. For every service, AWS defined set of policies. Policy means permissions. So we assigned S3 full access to user, S3 full access to group, S3 full access to role. We see how to create user, how to assign policy. We see how to create a group, how to assign a policy. We see how to create a role, assign a policy. Okay. Right now, as part of AWS IAM for Snowflake, we understand these things. Okay. While integrating Snowflake with Snowflake with AWS S3, we may going to use either user, group, or role. At that time, I am going to show you which of AWS, which technique of AWS I am going to use. Okay? Yeah. So in Snowflake team, in Snowflake, in Snowflake, we have a concept called external table. We have a concept called external table concept. Okay. We have concept called Snowpipe. We have concept called Snowpipe. While implementing while implementing these two concepts, what we are going to do? That's we are going to read data of S3, data of S3. So for that, what we are going to do, using AWS IAM, we are going to create a role. Using AWS IAM, we are going to create a role, and for this role, we are going to attach S3 policy. S3 policy. Let's say role 1. Every role contain unique number called ARN, Amazon resource number. Amazon resource number. So we are going to use this number inside these commands. Inside these commands, we are going to use this ARN so that whenever you execute these commands can communicate through this role to this S3 location so that we never get permission issue. We never get a permission issue. Clear writing? How we are going to interact uh, Snowflake with S3 with AWS IAM role? Yeah. Mm.